Well, welcome back. My name is Domiko L. Cunningham, better known as Dr. Media. So, to deal with something that has been plaguing many people inside of Unreal as well, that issue is if you bring in a model into Unreal. So if you bring, like currently right now, I have all of my models broken out. So these guys are all separate pieces. I have the back wall, I have these poles here, I even have the staircase here, my main part of my, the main part of my capsule, the capsule door. These are all broken out separately. Now, for this to actually work, for me to be able to take this and bring it into Unreal and be able to use this as my scene, I need to make sure that my shaders are broken up so that I can use them inside of Unreal. So the way this works, you can export a model and it can all be separate pieces, and you can have separate models inside of your scene. When you export that as an FBX file, it will come out as just a model. Now the way Unreal needs to see this is that Unreal needs to be able to see the individual shaders that are on your objects. So before you export your model from Max, you want to make sure that you have individual shaders on your different objects. So right now I need to make sure that this is the shader that's on this object. Make sure that I have the right shader on my stairs. Make sure I have the right shader on my back wall. So when I do this, if I come in here and I go File, and I say I want to export this, and you'll see I'm not going to export selected, I'm just going to export everything. So I'm going to export it all, and I'm just going to call this my VR stage. And then save this. And you'll see in here, I'm not going to do anything special to it. I'm going to leave it the way that it is. Everything in my y-axis is going to be up. Normally inside of Max, Z is up, but the y-axis is going to be up for me when I take this out, because most other programs Y is up. So I'm going to hit OK. And it's telling me that the camera won't go, and that's fine. I don't really need the camera anyway. So I've already got Unreal open. So here's my Unreal file. I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to let's just do a new file. So this is something else to pay attention to when you save your file with Unreal. First of all, when you first make a brand new project, you'll see it's going to give you a folder where this is going to save to. So right now this is my users folder, my name, documents, and then my Unreal projects. And it's going to name this project. It's going to name it my project. Now I could change the name of this project, and I could end up calling this, like, VR stage, just to keep things, the same. I'm going to say create. Give it a couple of seconds. What Unreal is doing right now, Unreal is actually building that VR project folder for me. So it's building the project folder that I'm going to use to input my objects inside of. So with those already set, and you can see there's my brand new Unreal, and it's a blank scene. I just chose to do a blank scene just so I could, have nothing in here at all. So I got myself a blank scene. And there it is. There's nothing in here. So what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and say import. And I want to import my model into Unreal. So let's give it a second. There it is. And I'm going to go here to look at my documents. There's my Unreal projects. So that's where that's at. But I need to go to Max because I have an export folder in here. And there's my export. There's my VR stage FBX file. I'm going to open it. And it's going to ask me, do I want to import the textures and materials with it? I'm going to say no. I'm just going to import the model by itself. And I'm going to say import. And it's just going to tell me that there is no smoothing group. So I have one error, which is there's no smoothing groups, which is fine. I did not apply any smoothing groups inside of Unreal, inside of Max rather. So I'm going to drop this into my scene. So there is my static mesh model inside of my scene. Everything's good. If I double click on my static mesh right here, it's my model, you'll see that every element that had a shader on it will now have a shader on it inside of the Unreal package. So you can see now there are the poles that I had, there's the wall, and there's the stairs, there's my actual pod, and then I also have the door right here. Now they're not named appropriately. It just has like element 0, element 1, element 2, element 3, element 4. So the thing you want to do before you export your scene from Max is make sure that you have assigned the shaders that belong to those objects back to those objects. Because sometimes they'll disconnect, because what Max will try to do, it'll try to make a proxy or a shell of your object after you've done the camera, after you've rendered to texture. It will often try to make a shell, and the shell is not really your actual shader. It's what appears to be your shader. I know it sounds kind of confusing, but just take my word for it. Just take those shaders and reattach them to your models to make sure everything is working well and that you don't have any subsequent issues. Now, if you do that, if you make sure that you have reapplied your shaders and everything is good and the camera mapping is good, when you bring it in here to Unreal, you should not have any problems attaching this to your actual models, because all you'll have to do is come in here and make your materials and then apply those materials to each one of these different shaders that are assigned to each one of your objects. And it's just that simple. Realistically, that's how you do it. That's how you get through it, and how you make it wizark, and break it down for that Max to Maya conversion, or that Max to Unreal conversion rather. Is just make sure that you have shaders on every one of your 3D objects that you're exporting, and if you do that, then it will be all gravy. And that was one of the biggest questions that most people had. So hopefully you'll continue on with the rest of the videos in this series and be able to get your own VR stuff into Unreal to be able to set up for your stereoscopic view in your application. So until next time, my Digital Mutants, it is I, Delmico L. Cunningham, better known as Dr. Media, signing off.